for joining me here today. I'm Desiree Gisian and I'm from ED 31B. Today I'm going to talk to you about the introduction and a little overview of the course, The Teacher and the Community, School, Culture, and Organizational Leadership. But before we proceed, let me ask you a question. Have you ever asked yourself things about school? Like, why do school have mission? Why do school have vision? And why do teachers make me do a lot of assignments? And so on. We'll never know. Maybe those questions that you ask yourself are going to be answered in this course. So without further ado, let's now proceed to the purpose of this course. The purpose of this course is to provide students with a strong foundation for understanding the relationship between and among teachers, the school, and the families and community that support the school. So in this course, we are going to learn the interconnectedness of the teachers, school, and those people who are related to the school are going to be introduced. This course will provide orientation to the process of socialization in schools and how social factors affect education. So this course will also give us more information about the process of what's happening within the society of a community and the school and how it affects education. Students will explore how cultural, social, and historical forces have shaped their understanding of the relationship teachers have with schools, communities, and families. So we will learn about the history, the culture, and the society of a school for us to understand and to relate with the teachers, and also to learn what teachers have to do with schools, communities, and families. Students will have opportunity to put this knowledge into practice by studying a school and its community so that they can mobilize support for educational programs and contribute positively to their communities. So the more we learn about this course, the more we are engaged practicing and applying what we learn because we understand it deeply. So there's a tendency that we are participating more on the school's programs. Just like us in College of Education. We are studying the field of education, so we understand the teachers more than the others. So we show empathy to them because we know how hard it is to be a teacher. Students will identify strategies, practices, and relationships that proven fruitful within familial context and learn how to identify and respond to challenges in school, community, and teacher relationships. So this course will help us learning more strategies and practices that will make us more productive and effective in school, community, and with the teacher relationships. Students will identify how culture, gender, special needs, equality, and collaborative working condition affects the school and community. So this course will make our understanding become wider because we will learn the issues that people in the school might experience or experiencing. School as an organization. School has its own system of governance, influenced by a fixed organizational structure or bureaucracy. From the words organizational and bureaucracy, it means it is organized and it has a system of administration from the national, regional, division, district, and to local school levels. At the national level, the DepEd Secretary acts as the head of the whole bureaucracy. School as a learning organization. School main functions is to help learners learn and develop knowledge, skills, and values essential for every individual. It's to implement the curriculum prescribed by the Department of Education. So the school has to follow the DepEd. School as a community. School is composed of teachers, administrators, students, staff, and other stakeholders united in one purpose and guided by common values and culture. The school is guided by the following essential elements. One is the vision, a sense of direction of what the school hopes to accomplish for itself, for the people, and for the society. Values provides a framework for organizational culture and behavior of the entire school. Third is the leadership. provides administrative and management support for the day-to-day activities and functions of the school. Fourth is the culture, pertains to the shared values and behaviors of students, teachers, staffs, and administration. So now I'm going to enumerate the outline or the list of topics that we are going to learn in this course. One is the society, community, and education. Second is the social interaction in schools and communities. Third is the school and culture. Fourth is the relationships between school and community. Fifth, the school institutions. Sixth is the teacher's role in school and the community. Seventh is the organizational leadership. Before we end this discussion, I will leave you a short quotation from John Dewey, the founder of pragmatism. Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. Education, therefore, is a process of living and not a preparation for future living.
Good day everyone, I am Jamaica D. Ocampo and I am here to introduce about the society, community, and education. First, let me introduce to you the society. What is society? Society is a social system composed of interrelated acts of people. It is the largest distinguishable unit of interacting individuals who share a pattern of social that regulates the interaction between them. Society has the establishment of human relationship structures. These relationship structures develop into a form social group at different levels. The groups include the family group, school group, religious group, political group, entertainment groups, occupational groups, and the community groups. Society is where you can interact with other people or other group. Like for example, your in a public places in a mall, market, and etc. Next is community. Community-based learning is the broad set of teaching or learning strategies that enable youth and adults to learn what they want to learn from any segment of the community. It may also be defined as experiential learning where the students and lecturers collaborate with the communities to address problems and issues simultaneously. Both are gaining knowledge and skills and advancing personal development. There is an equal emphasis on helping communities and providing valid experience to students. And there is three types of community-based learning. First is a direct service, which is placing students in direct contact with people. Second is an indirect service, engaging students in performing service by providing goods or a product to a needy cause. The last one is the civic action or advocacy. Is it addressing the cause of a social issue? Lastly is education. Education is deliberate. We act with purpose to develop understanding and judgment and enable action. We may do this for ourselves. For example, learning what different road signs mean so that we can get a license to drive. Or watching wildlife programs on television because we are interested in animal behavior. This process is sometimes called self-education or teaching yourself. Often, we seek to encourage learning in others. Examples here include parents and carers showing their children how to use a knife and fork or bike. School teachers introducing students to a foreign language and animators and pedagogies helping a group to work together. Education is where you can re-educate yourself or other people by the use of your knowledge. And it is sometimes, as educators, we have a clear idea of what we'd like to see achieved. At others, we do not and should not. In the case of the former, we might be working to a curriculum, have a session or lesson plan with clear objectives, and have a high degree of control over the learning environment. And that's all. Thank you.
I'm Maribel Sembrano. My discussion is all about social institutions, its characteristics and functions, and also the five major social institutions, their definitions, and also their functions. So first, let us define what is social institutions. So, social institutions perform five essential tasks, which are replacing members or procreation, teaching new members, producing, distributing and consuming goods and services, preserving order, and providing and maintaining a sense of purpose. So, based on the definition that I have posted, it is given that social institutions plays an important role in our society and it has a big impact in our lives. So later, I'll discuss about the five essential tasks or which this belongs in the five major social institutions. So first, let's discuss about the characteristics of social institutions. So this characteristics was pointed by Pilapis 1996. So first, institutions are purposive. So when we say institutions are purposive, it means that each of them has a satisfaction of social needs as its own goal or objective. So next is relatively permanent in their contents. So this means that the pattern roles and relations that people enact from a particular culture became traditional enduring, although we know that these institutions are subject to change, but the change is just a relatively slow. So next is, it is a social patterns directing human behavior and the performance of basic activities. So next is, institutions are structured. So when we say institutions are structures, it means that the components tend to band together or reinforce one another. This is because social roles and social relations are in themselves structured by a combinations of behavioral patterns. So next is, institutions are necessarily value-laden. Their repeated uniformities, patterns, and trends become codes of conduct, but most of these conducts are subconsciously exert social pressures. So we are done about the characteristics of social institutions. Let us proceed to the functions of social institutions. So first, institutions simplify social behavior for the individual person. So social institutions provide child with all needed social and cultural mechanisms through which he or she can grow socially. So next is, institutions provide ready-made forms of social relations and social roles for the individual. So the principal roles are not invented by an individual, but they are provided by the institutions. So next is, institutions also act as agencies of coordination and stability for total culture. So the ways of thinking and behaving that are institutionalized should make sense to people. Next is, institutions tend to control behavior. So institutions contain a systematic expectations of the society. So next is, social institutions can take many forms depending on social context. So it may be family as social institutions, education, religion, economic, and government. So, we are done about the functions of social institutions. Let us proceed to the 5 major social institutions. So, the first is family. So, the family is the smallest of the 5 and the basic unit of the society where each of us develops our values, behaviors, and our ways of life. So, even it is the smallest and the basic unit, family has a big impact in our society because without the presence of family, the other institutions would be useless because no one will benefit on it. So next is family influences not just individuals but also communities and societies at large. So this is how important the family is. The more we interact with someone, the greater chance we have to shape his or her life in a positive or negative way. Therefore, the people who tend to become the greatest influencers in our lives tend to be those closest to us, our friends and our family. So next is a family can be referred to as a group that is deliberately created or created by the virtue of birth. So that is the definition of family. So we are done with the definition of the family. Let us proceed to the functions of family as a social institutions. So first is reproduction of the race and rearing of the young. So when we say reproduction of the race, it is recognizing the difference between people mostly by the basis of their language or shared culture. So rearing of the young is that both parents are responsible to take care of their children until they're able to care for themselves. Next is cultural transmission of enculturation. So the culture of family is acquired by the mother and father and is a one-way system in which culture is passed on to other person through other channel. So they are the one who receive information about your society and your culture. So next is socialization of the child. So in these functions, the child learns his role and status in the society. So social interactions helps young children to start or to develop their sense of self and also start to develop what other people expect from them. So next is providing affection and sense of security. So of course, family is responsible for the safety of a child knowing that there is someone to talk to when they need help or support, giving them a certain amount of interactions at all times. So next is providing the environment for personality, development, and growth of self-concept in relations to others. So that's the functions of family as a social institutions. We are done about the functions of family as a social institutions. Let's proceed to the second major social institutions, which is education. So first, let us define what is education. So educational institutions are defined as entities that provide instructional services to individuals or education-related services to individuals and other educational institutions. Education is a social institutions through which a society's children are taught basic academic knowledge, learning skills, and cultural norms. Schooling is a formal education which involves instruction by specially trained teachers who follow officially recognized policies. So that is all about education. So let's proceed to the functions of education as a social institutions. So first is the primary function of education is to move young people in the mainstream of society. So education gives us knowledge of the world around us. It develops in us such as perspective of looking at life. Without education, one of us will not explore new ideas. It means one will not be able to develop the world because without ideas, there is no creativity. And without creativity, there is no development of the nation. The school is the place for the contemplation of reality. It shows the reality to students. So education is an important aspect that plays a huge role in the modern industrialized world. People need a good education to be able to survive in this competitive world. So next is, at home, we teach reality to children in a profoundly personal, informal, and structured way. So one of the best way parents prepare their children for adulthood is by acting as their teacher and being a role model to help them learn the skills they will need. These skills can include everything from basic household chores to complex responsibilities, how to save or how to manage themselves during difficult social situations, or specifically being independent. So next is, teach children and youth certain types of acceptable behavior and sees to it that children develop these aspects, which is physically, emotionally, socially, and academically. So that is the function of education as a social institution. So let us proceed to the third major social institutions, which is religion. So let us define what is religion. So it is a set of beliefs and practices that is held by a group of people. They create identities and representations and determine attitudes, emotions, and behavior. Defined as any set of coherent answers to the dilemmas of human existence that makes the world meaningful. The chief characteristics of a religion includes a belief in a supreme being, a doctrine of salvation, code of conduct, use of sacred stories, and religious rituals. So we are done about the definition of religion. Let us proceed to the functions of religion as a social institutions. So first is, religion serves as a means of social control. So religion as an integrative social force shapes collective belief into a collective identity. Like for example, this religious rituals or activities like weddings, birthday celebration, burials like that. It promotes group solidarity and cohesion. It also promotes the feeling of exclusion to those who are outside the group. Next is, it exerts a great influence upon personality development. So, religion often influences us through social and cultural institutions in which we participate. So, the belief, practices, social network, and resources of religion strengthen us by instilling hope, by giving meaning to the difficult experiences, and by providing emotional, physical, and spiritual support. So next is, religious allays fear of unknown. So religion today tends to be based on fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of the other, and fear of being who you are. So rather than addressing our insecurities, it enables a fearful people to claim salvation and continue to act with hatred. So by means of religion, it will lessen these things. So next is, religion explains events or situations which are beyond the comprehension of a man. Next is, it preserves and transmits knowledge, skills, spiritual and cultural values and practices. So religion transmits knowledge not by manual or sacred text. It is through or done orally. So religion can affect more than a person's habit, and these practices can influence an entire community, nation, or region. It serves as an instrument of change. So of course, religion help us shape and determine what we see as right and wrong. It influences us to be good and how to live our life in a peaceful way. So next is, it promotes closeness, love, cooperation, friendliness, and helpfulness. So that is the function of religion as a social institution. So let us proceed to the fourth major social institutions, which is economics. So, economics ensures the maintenance of society through the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. It is a specific agencies or foundations, both government and private, devoted to collecting or studying economic data or commissioned with the job of supplying a good or service that is important to the economy of a country. These institutions have two studies, the microeconomics and macroeconomics. Microeconomics is the study of particular markets and segments of economy, while the macroeconomics is the study of the whole economy. So that is all about economics. So let's proceed to the fifth and last major social institution, which is the government. So what is government? This is for the betterment of the people and the democracy. It resolves conflicts or where state of community is controlled. It has three branches: the executive branch, which proposes and enforces rules and laws; legislative branch, which makes rules and laws; judicial branch, which adjudicates rules and laws. So the executive branch consists of president, vice president, president's cabinet. If the president is unable to continue his daily duties, the vice president will take over the responsibility. So in legislative branch, it enacts legislation. It confirms or regrets presidential's appointment and has the authority to declare war. So in judicial branch, it is made up of court supreme circuit, the magistrate or the local, and the municipal court. Next is the function of government as a social institution. It has two functions, namely the constituent and the ministrant function. The constituent function contributes to the bands of the society and compulsory. Ministrant function are those undertaken to advance the general interest of the society and it's merely optional.